So like I had a recent conversation with a friend of mine about promoting your stuff and just being independent, you know. Being a music producer or a rapper or just any type of creative, and you have this goal of wanting to promote your stuff on social media. And you know, to me, I think it's a matter of really understanding how each social media platform functions, how people experience those different types of platforms. So, you know, I want to run through them. So let's run through them. You know, Twitter, for instance. I mean, Twitter obviously is one of the platforms that is just a go-to platform in terms of speaking your voice, creating dialogue and creating conversation. So, you know, if you're an independent producer or artist or just creative in general, you want to use Twitter in a way that engages your audience and creates some kind of story and dialogue, right? And so, again, when I use Twitter, I talk shit, you know, like I'm not necessarily on Twitter promoting my projects. Of course I use Twitter to promote stuff, but most of the time I'm on Twitter talking shit, you know, speaking my mind. I think as an independent, you want to create some kind of momentum on Twitter where you're talking about something that's worth talking about. So, you know, I'll give you an example. If you're a music producer and you're working on a beat tape, think about what the theme is of your beat tape. I'm just gonna throw random ideas out there. Let's say you're creating a beat tape and you want to put it on SoundCloud, and let's say the theme for the beat tape is like Dragon Ball Z, right? And so you have the artwork, it's all like Dragon Ball Z, and the videos that you've created are like kind of Dragon Ball Z themed and all that stuff. So what I would do if I was you is go to Twitter, start creating dialogue and conversations around Dragon Ball Z, people that are into Dragon Ball Z and that whole theme, and just start warming your followers and your audience, warm them up to this idea and get them kind of set into that mind state. So paint a picture and get your audience prepared for what you're about to promote to them, right? And I hate using the word promotion, but like, you just gotta tell a story. I think you need to ask yourself, how can I best tell my story on Twitter? Start teasing people with snippets of your beat tape. Start teasing your followers with like artwork, you know, like take them through the process. And I think that's what people, you know, I think that's what people love about Twitter, is they get to see the process and be able to comment on, you know, what you're working on. So, you know, I think with Twitter, you have to use it every day. If you're not on Twitter every day, creating some kind of dialogue with people, then you're way behind. You know what I'm saying? So engage with people on Twitter, comment, reply to every single person that tweets towards you. That's how you build the momentum. In terms of Instagram, I mean, you guys already know at this point, like, you know, you guys already know at this point, I fucking love Instagram. I think Instagram is like the #1 platform, social media platform right now to utilize as an independent to really take advantage of and build your audience. You could really start to tell your story using pictures and video, and you know, that's obvious, but really, I think the key word with promoting yourself as an independent is story. And I know I've talked about this on my podcast in the past and even here on BLAP-Cam. So you need to really ask yourself, you know, how can I tell my story on Instagram in the most effective way possible? And you have to be really detail oriented. You know, if you guys look at my Instagram, and you know, every so often you'll see a photo of like me with like an inspirational quote or whatever it is that I'm saying that day. And you notice that like I try to keep everything as high quality as possible. And I'll tell you now, like 90% of that stuff I'm doing on my phone, you know what I mean? So, you know, if you're an independent producer, artist, tell your story on Instagram and do it at the highest quality possible. If you don't have the ability to create photos or try to do it yourself, then find people that can help you do it. I personally think that's an excuse. You know, I'm not the most technically advanced Photoshop user or video editor, and obviously I have my man Josh and Ashley and all these great people that help me with my video content. But in terms of Instagram, I would say 90% of the stuff you post on Instagram you can do yourself. And so there's no more excuses, guys. The competition is so fierce right now in terms of trying to gain the attention of your followers, and if your stuff isn't quality, then you're just gonna fall behind. Like I said, keep in mind, no one wants to watch a shitty movie. No one's interested in a shitty looking, shitty quality movie. It's 2018 going on to 2019. Like, if you're posting low quality videos and low res photos on your Instagram, you're just gonna lose, man. I don't know what else to say to you. Like, you're just way behind. You're way behind. So again, step number one, I would say, is focus on the quality of what you post and start there. And really just, again, I'll go back to the word story. Like, tell your story in the most organic way possible. Tell your story in a way where it captivates people, and you don't have to overthink it too much, you know what I mean? Use my Instagram as an example. Like, I've seen so much growth on my social media platforms, and especially Instagram. I broke 100,000 followers, and I know that's like not a million yet, but just 12 months ago I was at, I think I was at like 60,000 or something, or a year and a half ago I was at like 50 or 60,000 Instagram followers, and now I'm well over 100,000. And I believe that that's due to the fact that I've increased the quality of my posts on Instagram. I've increased the frequency of when I post. If you guys notice, I'm posting 2 to 4 times a day, and I have a lot to talk about. I'm posting about my podcast. I'm posting about my music. I'm posting about placements I'm getting. I'm posting about BLAP-KITS, my YouTube. I'm posting about drum kits. I'm posting pictures of random people that I'm collaborating with, and I try to keep it all at the highest quality possible. Don't be discouraged with I have to post up like a picture with a superstar, or I need like a high quality HD camera to like post pictures. Well, shit, if you want to post up high quality photos, invest in a camera, or find a photographer that's willing to collaborate with you. Those little things like that. So again, there's no more excuses. Increase the quality of your posts and tell your story, and don't be afraid to talk about stuff that you're interested in. Listen, it doesn't always have to be about beats, right? Like, I know a lot of you guys are music producers, obviously. You don't want to riddle your Instagram with just video snippets of you pointing to your keyboard and playing like a beat snippet. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't only have to be that. I mean, I've found that you're able to grow your Instagram account to a certain level, but then you don't really give your followers a chance to really know who you are. And I think that's the important thing here, guys, is telling your story on Instagram and letting people know who you are and what you're about, an authentic side of who you are, and I guarantee you're gonna start to attract the right people. So just be honest with yourself and tell your story on Instagram. So that would be the strategy on Instagram. And hashtagging is a huge thing. I honestly just got into hashtagging like probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I know it works. So just go online and search best practices for hashtagging on Instagram, and I guarantee you'll find a bunch of articles that will help you with that. And it's not as complicated as you think it is. every tweet that I post is really just in the moment. So like sometimes I'll go on there and I'll do my rants. A lot of those are just in the moment, you know, and I really believe that works. And I think that's like a really interesting and fun way to utilize your Twitter account, is to, you know, just go for it. If something's on your mind and you want to talk about it, jump on Twitter and talk about it. I think that's another interesting approach to social media, is not being overly strategic with what you post and really just going with like your gut and going with how you feel. You know, that's another very interesting way to approach the social media aspect too. And then recently someone asked me, you know, how do I market myself if I'm an independent producer or a rapper? How do I market myself with no money? You don't need money necessarily to be on social media. Twitter is free, Instagram is free, Facebook is free, YouTube is free, creating a Gmail account is free, SoundCloud is free. You know, that's just like the top 4 or 5 right there that will work for you, where you don't need to spend literally any money. Another thing too I would recommend is find an account. Let's say you're focusing on promoting on Instagram, right? Find an Instagram account that really inspires you, that you really enjoy looking at, and figure out different tactics and different things that work for that person. So, you know, if you go to my account, I'll use myself as an example. Go to my account and you see, okay, that particular post got more likes and more comments than that post. I wonder why, you know? And then you figure out, oh shit, all the video posts that Illmind posts up on Instagram that have like an additional graphic on the bottom, you know, that little meter that goes like that. Anytime Illmind posts those up, those get more likes and more views. It's really important for you to do research and get on these social media accounts and figure out, okay, why are certain things working for some people, and take those ideas and make your own out of them. You know, that's a huge, huge, huge help. I click on random profiles sometimes. People hit me up, people DM me like, yo, Illmind, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I promote myself? I'm a music producer. I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to get this. And then I go to your Instagram and I look, and the last time you posted was in April. Or, you know, the last 5 photos were just really, really dark, low quality videos of you pointing to your screen, playing a beat that I can't even hear, you know? So you just really have to be mindful of this stuff. Like, you know, if you build it, they will come, but you have to build it. You know, if you're not executing and if you're not patient, then you're just not gonna see the results. So, you know, just understand that this is a long-term game. It's a long-term game, and you just gotta build it one by one. I mean, this goes back, I'm gonna go back and reference the 30-day BLAP challenge. You know, a lot of you guys, I've seen a lot of you guys do it. You've done it. Some of you guys have done it for 90 days. Some of you guys are still doing it. And I commend you guys. And I get messages almost every other day like, yo, Illmind, you know, I did the 30-day challenge. I made beats every day, made a new beat a day, posted it up on my Instagram, posted on my Twitter, my Facebook, my email blast, my YouTube. Every day, post a new beat, post a new song, new beat every day for 30 days straight. And all of those guys have seen growth in terms of followers, engagement, comments, inquiries. Challenge you guys to continue to do that, especially if you're independent. If you're independent, there's no limit. There's no limit. You know, you should just keep pushing, keep putting the pedal all the way. You're gonna eventually just realize that you're seeing a lot of growth. If you're an independent artist and you're trying to get a project out, you gotta get people to care first. I think the #1 first step for an independent is to just get people to give a shit. No one gives a shit right now, right? If you have 100 followers, that's 100 people. So it's your job to make 100 people give a shit about you. There's no other way to do that other than to tell your story. unless you go out there and do some wild, crazy, weird, fucked up shit to get people's attention, which I think is corny. But get people's attention. And so the number one priority should be to get people to care about you. When I started my YouTube account, I had 0 followers, you know? So I had to figure out a way to provide content and speak my truth and get people to care about what I'm talking about. And that's, you know, part of that is hard work, you know, getting placements, being a music producer, people watching me and saying, oh wow, he produces music, he's on YouTube, he's got a podcast. Man, it took a long time and a lot of hard work to get people to care about what I have to say. And so you need to really be mindful of that. I think you need to really be mindful of different ways on how you can get people to give a shit about what you're selling or what you have to say or who you're collaborating with. Get people to care, and they'll come. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna come slow, pause. They will come eventually, pause again. I love that. Ashley's gonna have a blast with that one. Pause again, have a blast. I love that. Give people a reason to care, because if no one cares, there's so much music out there. There's so much consumption. There's so many songs and albums and projects that are out there. So you have to find your lane and build your own audience authentically and feed that audience and get that audience to give a shit about what you're doing. Once you get them to care about what you're doing, then really the sky's the limit. But you got to build it. You got to build it one by one. And I think that's the number one mistake for independent artists and independent producers, is they forget that people don't give a shit. Everyone is trying to like find that secret like tactic or that secret trick of how do I like find this like loophole of getting people to like buy my album, or how do I find this loophole to start getting like placements and all this shit. There's no fucking loophole. There's none. I mean, you can't cheat your way around success, right? Like, you have to get people to fucking give a shit about you. You know, it boggles my mind how many people try to take the shortcut and they don't realize that there is no shortcut. There's different techniques and there's different things that you can do to become more effective to reach those goals, but there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. And we're kind of living in this era where it's like one big social experiment where we're realizing that certain things work and certain things don't work. But I think the root of all of it is finding your passion and what you really love and telling your story on your social media. You know what I mean? Take it from someone who's in the marathon. I'm in the race. I'm still in the race. You're talking to someone who I've done a lot of these things, but I still want more and I still want to build more, and there's still so much more for me to accomplish, you know? So you got to just go for it and be patient, man, because if you're not doing what you can to get people on board to what you're doing, then you're just, no one's gonna care, you know what I mean?